Hi, welcome to Coffee with Me. I'm Susan B Lochocki, running for President of the United States as a write-in, and this is after the election. We're in the in-between time between November 3rd and December 14th, when the Electoral College meet in their own states and place their votes for the President of the United States. So this Coffee with Me is a special one to talk about the Electoral College and the vote. There's been a lot of things in the news about whether the vote is legal or illegal or rigged or anything. And I just want to talk about my feelings about it because I see a lot of issues that have come up that I don't fully agree with, but they are legal in the standpoint of the law. And each state is allowed to have its own rules. So one state does things one way and another does it a different way. But certain things that pop out at me where I feel that they're not correct, I'm going to talk about in this video. Unfortunately, I don't think that any of them are strong enough to go forward with a lawsuit. So unless somebody wants to come forward and say something, there's nothing more I can do, I believe, except talk about where I see issues. So first, I registered to vote. I have been voting the last 20 years from Switzerland as a absentee voter, non-resident, and so that makes it only possible to vote in presidential elections. All the other voting people overseas don't get to do if you're a non-resident, and that's what I was. So I do know that one year I actually didn't get my ballot in the mail soon enough. And so I just tore it up and threw it out. Now recently, last year around this time, I was trying to change my registration from where I had been living previously, so my last known address in the United States, which was in Pittsford, New York, to my new one, which was in Manhattan. And I put the paperwork in and nothing changed. And I put more paperwork in and nothing changed. And then I think it was about, I guess it was February, yeah, when I went to the voter registration office in Rochester, New York, and I said, look, I've been trying to get this changed for some months and it hasn't changed. So what's going on? And that's when they told me two things. Whoever put my information in New York put my name in under a misspelling. And so that's why the paperwork never got updated. And then secondly, so therefore I was sort of registered in two places. This was last February. Then they said that I voted in every single election in the last, since I've been in Switzerland. And I know at least one I did not vote in. So that concerns me too. Somebody voted for me during that election because it wasn't me. But that was not this election cycle. That was a previous one. So in this one, I was staying at a friend's place in New York, but she is going through cancer treatment, and because of the coronavirus, she could no longer get into Manhattan to collect mail. And I was having my mail sent to her address. So I finally got around to changing the address to a mailing office that I now have in New York. And when I changed the address, I specifically waited because I didn't want any confusion between my polling station from the residence where I was to my mailing address. In fact, I specifically did not ask to register to vote from my changed mailing address because it's a mailing address, it's not a residence. So, with that said, I voted early. I voted a couple of days early before the end of the election process. And then I was on the road and I got a message from my mailing place that I got a letter from the Board of Elections. And then I eventually made my way back from Alabama, back through, to New York, and I picked up my mail. And I was surprised that I had a piece of mail with a different voting address. So in theory, I now had 2 voting addresses in Lower Manhattan.